Welcome to Food Exposed, where each week we look at the story behind what's on your plate. I'm your host, Jackie Keller, and welcome to Food Exposed. Today we're going to talk about how to look fit and fabulous at 40, 50, or beyond. Let's face it, we all get there, and it's a fact of life. So you don't need to let your body give away your age. In fact, according to Dr. Oz, your lifestyle and what you eat and how you live control somewhere between 70 and 80% of how well you age and how you look at any age. That's great news for people who are proactive. So what are the best foods to control that aging process? Well, to start off with, you want foods that have anti-inflammatory properties. These are foods that slow the aging of your blood vessels, like salmon, walnuts, flaxseed, other healthful nuts like almonds, and these are things that will reduce your memory loss, will reduce the constriction of your blood vessels. You also want foods that that enhance your immune system, that slow the deterioration of your immune system. And some of those foods are berries, orange juice, lentils, tomatoes, and kale. And there's a whole host of foods that have very high antioxidant properties that help with that. And finally, you want foods that counteract environmental factors that influence aging. So foods that are organic, foods that are non-GMO, foods that are sustainable or locally grown that don't use any herbicides, pesticides, fungicides. Our own farm at NutriFit, which is on the central coast of California, is a sustainably grown farm, and we use organic farming methods. Those are the kinds of things you want to look for in your food supply. So remember, if you eat smart, you can have your best body at 40, 50, maybe even 60 or 70. My guest today is IFBB fitness professional and mother of three, Nita Marquez. Her passion for fitness is expressed in her branded motivational mantra, "Be phenomenal, you are worth the work." After a 10-year career as a top 5 national fitness competitor with the NPC, Nita won the Fitness Nationals to earn her professional status in 2008, which led to the release of her book, Fit for Combat. Nita Marquez, welcome to Food Exposed.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well,
it's a pleasure to see you again.
It's nice to see you, and you look not only fit, but fabulous.
Thank you so much.
I know you have some tips for all of our listeners. They're very interested in knowing how to get to look their best. I mean, we can't all look like Nita, but we would all like to look fabulous.
Well, thank you. First of all, let me just preface the conversation with a thank you for all the kind accolades. But honestly, I grew up with a weight problem. They called me low fat when I was growing up because I'm only 4'11", just under 5 feet, and I was overweight. And because I was short and chubby, kids made fun of me, and kids are cruel.
You were bullied.
So yeah, I was. And as I got older, when I met my husband, we had our first baby, and I had distinctly remembered Charlene Tilton on the cover of Sports Illustrated when I was 15 years old, and she was talking about how she had just had her baby, and she had the best body ever after birth. And I thought, if I ever have kids, I'm gonna remember this. So, I really started investigating at that point in my life what it would take to not only stay in shape for myself, but also to have a really healthy pregnancy. And I was really fortunate that I gained a lot of weight, but I was able to drop it relatively quickly. And as I've aged and as I've had more children, I've had 3, as you mentioned, I've just been very fortunate that conditioning my body over the years, just with, pardon the pun, baby steps toward healthy eating, toward working out, and then getting into competitive fitness, it's been really helpful for the aging process. For me, I've enjoyed aging. I mean, honestly, when I was in my mid-30s, I couldn't wait to reach 40 because I was like excited about that number.
Being excited. But bless you, my dear.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I have loved every second of it. You know, 40 is just, it's such a wonderful age because you really, as you know, it's just like this age of self-commanding, and you discover so much of who you are, and you're so much more aware, and so much more in control of your own you know, behavior patterns because you're more aware of them, and you can stifle certain things that are maybe not good for you. And that goes along with craving certain foods. I don't have the same cravings I used to, and not only do I not have the same cravings, but when I do have a craving for something, I know when to stop. You know, I know that it's okay once in a while to cheat, as we call it, but it's really important to just, you know, be free-spirited and understand that nutrition is, it's not just something that's good for your body, it's good for your soul.
Right.
And to listen to your body and honor your soul and say, hey, I've had plenty, I feel good, and stay energetic and stay smiling. I have a number of tips that would help you physically stay in great shape with these physical choices, but the number one thing beyond the 5 tips that you had asked for me to share today, the number one thing I say is just staying in joy. If you have peace of mind, that is the number one way to anti-age your cells. It really, really is.
That's
you have
important.
to smile a lot.
You know, I work with a lot of women who really have a sort of a love-hate relationship with food. They really battle their bodies. You know, you talk about loving yourself and having a mature, sort of sophisticated relationship on a higher level with your body, and respecting it, and understanding where you fit into the universe with your body. But there are a lot of women out there, and men too, who struggle with making peace with their body. So I wanted to ask you, you know, how do you keep your body the way it is and not fall into that, well, I'm over 40 now, or I just hit 40 and now all of a sudden things are starting to fall apart? Is it really inevitable, or can you find a way to sort of make peace with it and still look so fabulous?
Well, I personally, I subscribe to the theory that you really have to love your own league, because we're all in a league of our own. Every one of us. Not one person is like everybody else or any other person in their quote-unquote category. Even physically, you know, we all have different DNA, we all have different bone structures, and where we might be parallel to one person, we're still different in another area. So it's about accepting your body and saying, hey, I'm in a league of my own, and just that self-acceptance has really helped me, because for as tiny as I am, under 5 feet, at 4'11", my height, you know, being tiny, it's always been really a struggle to keep my weight down. And when I would gain 5 pounds, it looked like 15 on me. So I think a lot of it comes with that self-acceptance of, hey, I'm in a league of my own. It's really perspective. It's not about, oh, there's nobody else like me, nothing fits. I'm in a league of my own. And that's really what I've come to grips with my body type with, is there's nobody else like me. I've got to do what's going to work for me specifically.
Right.
Of course, there are rules of thumb that you could follow, but yeah.
Well, share some of those with us.
Well, first of all, I think it's really, really important to do something that's going to help you practice proper breathing, because what happens is you get this great chemical activity going in your brain that helps you learn to relax, which is great for your cells. It helps anti-age the cells. So any discipline that teaches you proper form and technique and breathing alone, like yoga or Pilates, is fantastic. Meditating is fantastic. But in addition to that, it also helps you posture your body. You learn how to use your core to reinforce your back. A lot of people start experiencing back problems, so you'll reinforce your back muscles by using your core more and putting more impact there and strengthening those muscles, which helps keep your bones in order, in the right lines. Right. When you're doing that, that leads me into my second tip. That will help you have proper form and technique with weight training. Now, if you haven't by the age of 40 been weight training, I highly recommend that anybody go and really do intense research on a physical trainer who does weight training, who matches not only a great experience level, not somebody that just got their internet certification in 2 hours, but a real qualified expert in weight training who can help you learn to use your muscles effectively for developing and sculpting your body. I think that that's been really helpful for me. The weight training, it gives me a sense of power and strength, and there's like some kind of mental control that goes in that space, and it really helps me feel good about myself. When I walk out of the gym and I've been consistent and I've really burned those muscles, it feels great, and you get that endorphin rush just like you do with cardio or with yoga or Pilates. The third thing that I really recommend to people is really starting to investigate the idea that your body is not producing what it once did. You know, as we age, inevitably we
That's so true.
Yeah, we change. Yeah, we change.
Right.
Our cellular activity,
change.
Our hormones change. Our cellular activity drops somewhat in certain areas of your body. You're just not able to do as much. So the only way to really start regenerating some of that is through supplementation. I really recommend, doing your research. Your company is great with educating people on proper nutrition. In addition to that, where people find that they are lacking in what they take in on a daily basis in terms of nutrients and minerals, it's really important to look into supplements that are going to help. Like you said, with vitamin C is great for your cells. All the major vitamins and minerals that you would get from all your greens and your proper fruits. If you're not taking those in terms of your nutrition, get the proper supplementation. Also glutamine, which is an amino acid that your body produces for recovery. Your body can't possibly keep up with the manufacturing of that as you age. And then on top of it, if you're working out, in addition, you need probably an additional 5 to 10 grams a day of glutamine minimum, just to keep yourself in recovery mode so that you're helping your muscles not to stay sore for quite as long, they're recovering properly. So your amino acids, your vitamins and minerals, so supplementation I think is very important.
You know, that's one thing that I wanted to ask you about with respect to bodybuilding in general. And I know in your sport there is a lot of controversy about supplementation. There's a lot of men in your sport. We usually hear about men in the sport really heavily relying on supplements and artificial muscle enhancement techniques. What did you find as a woman in that sport, and is it prevalent?
It is. It's very prevalent in my industry to use not just over-the-counter supplements, but of course, like you said, you're talking about steroids. There are a number of fat burners. Ephedra has been now deemed unsafe.
Right.
I have very, I guess you would say, positive reviews on any of that. I think that if you're using supplements like that, you should be going to a doctor. There are a number of anti-aging clinics all over the country, especially here in Southern California. There are anti-aging clinics that recommend different supplements that are considered anabolic. There's HGH. There are things that can help your body speed up its metabolism. Ironically, as you age, some of those things are really actually quite healthy for you, but I don't recommend going the street route and getting drugs from your local, steroid dealer at the gym. These anti-aging clinics, they're there to help you keep your body healthy, not morphed into some big, crazy, out of order freak of nature. You know what I mean?
And we know with good nutrition and the work that I do at NutriFit with helping people just through the natural and available to everybody foods and beverages that we can all find and drink, it's possible to have an extremely healthy, longevity promoting, anti-aging diet. And so
I agree.
That's what I thought we would do in terms of showing our audience today some of the healthiest and easiest ways to put together some simple, great, delicious foods that they can make at home.
I think that's absolutely the number one method. If you have access to proper nutrition and you can get, like I said, the supplements that provide you with the minerals and vitamins that you need, that's the number one way to keep your body healthy for, like you said, for the purposes of longevity. Within my industry, there are a number of vain reasons to do all those other things. I only recommend that you ever evaluate any of those things in the appropriate circumstances and with doctor support. I really think that's important.
Well, let's make some deliciously healthy, nutritious food, and join me at the table.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to share a very, very easy recipe that features some of nature's best, healthiest, most nutritious foods. And it's so easy, so simple that I know that anybody can make this at home. And Nita, I know lentils are a particular favorite of yours.
They are.
I think you're gonna love this little lentil vegetable salad that we're gonna make here today. It's very simple, and there are just a few key ingredients that I want to point out. One is, of course, extra virgin olive oil. We know that these highly monounsaturated, healthy fats are some of the best fats for you. They're very anti-aging. And we want a lot of these fats in our diet. So whenever we make a dressing, we try to feature extra virgin olive oil if the flavor lends itself to it. And in this particular case, we're gonna just pour a little bit of this extra virgin olive oil into a bowl.
Now, is that about 2 tablespoons for one serving?
More or less. It's going to be a little bit less than that for one serving, but I think for the volume that we're preparing today, it's about right, which is going to be about 2 servings of this salad, depending on whether you're having it as a snack, which would work, or an entree, which, would make life a lot easier, right?
Well, I don't like cooking, so this is right up my alley.
There you go. Okay, well, watch how easy this is. A little bit of vinegar to balance out the olive oil. Now, traditionally, and this is a fig-infused vinegar. It's just one of those kind of unique flavors that adds a little bit of sweetness naturally. Of course, no sugar. It's a vinegar. But it'll balance out the olive oil and also a little bit of Dijon mustard, which just adds a kick to the dressing. So whisking all those 3 things together very quickly.
I like a little kick in my meals.
Yeah. Well, you're Latin, right?
Yes, we like it spicy.
You like it spicy.
I like my food like I like my men.
Okay, well, this is gonna work in your world then. And then some of our salt and sugar-free seasoning. This is our lemon garden blend, which we think goes really nicely with this dish as well. So once you have your dressing done, and that's all it is. It's just those 4 ingredients: some seasoning, oil, vinegar, and mustard. We're gonna make the salad. And basically, these are cooked brown lentils.
Okay.
They're the easiest ones to cook,
Yes.
20 minutes and they're done.
Yeah,
right?
but it literally takes like 30 seconds to prepare. You stick it in a pan and you put the water and it's easy. And speaking of the spice, is that the NutriFit blend?
It is.
Okay, because your spices, I'm telling you, I've been ordering them off the site. They're so good.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I think they're great too, but I would because I thought some carrots, and we know carrots very high in vitamin C. You talked a lot about vitamin C, how important it is for anti-aging.
Yes, it is.
And muscle repair too, right?
Yes.
That's really important. Some celery for crunch, and also to add volume and fiber to the recipe. We like to put in just vegetables that have good texture and good color.
Love it.
So we have some brown, some orange, some green, and some purple onions.
And the other thing with celery is it's actually a natural diuretic. So when we're having that time, women,
the bloated.
when there's a little bit of extra water, the celery is good.
It is. It's good. It just helps squeeze a little moisture out. And then with those onions, I always like to make sure there's plenty of parsley because that helps to clean the breath, it helps to digest, and of course parsley is very high in vitamin C, right? So some people think it's just for decoration, but you and I know. Yeah, it's good.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. So once you have your salad ingredients, we just pour the dressing over it.
Okay.
And then we can toss it together. And the other thing I like about this salad is that you can make it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I know you have 3 kids, right?
Yes.
That must put a tremendous
have to prepare food
pressure on your time, right?
Yes.
Now, do they are they lunchbox age? Do they take school lunches? What do you do with
We
that?
have always done lunches. Ironically, because my son had his pancreas removed at birth, he is diabetic.
Oh my goodness.
And so our meals are really scaled to fit lower carbohydrates, lower glycemic carbs, higher fiber, higher protein, and also he's lactose intolerant intolerant, and so is my middle daughter. And so we stay away from very much dairy. If we do any dairy, it's generally goat's milk or goat's cheese. And then we just do as much vegetables as possible. And my son loves vegetables, and he loves
down
lentils.
your alley.
Yes, it is.
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but I found these amazing leaves. These are actually Brussels sprouts leaves.
What?
I
my
know.
gosh.
Isn't that outrageous? They're just gorgeous, and they're actually a new vegetable product that my guy found for me. And
For NutriFit.
They're called
That's great.
Brussels sprouts leaves, and I just think they're gorgeous and make
They
such
are.
a very pretty thing. And you know, the other thing I discovered about them is that they're sweet, as opposed to the Brussels sprout, which is kind of an astringent taste. You know, it's not for everybody. Some people are can be pretty polarizing, but these are more in the cabbage family.
Okay.
Well, Brussels sprouts are in the cabbage family too,
Right.
but these are milder, sweeter, and I just love the awesome color.
So it kind of like with the bell peppers. The green ones have a little kick, but the red and yellow and orange are really sweet. So this would be kind of along the same.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But there you go. It's just that simple. And
That's easy.
Of course, you know, that's a large single portion, or maybe enough for 2 small lunches.
Okay.
And you want to give it a quick taste?
Yeah.
All right.
I was wondering if I was going to get to do that. I don't want to chew on camera. I don't want to make anybody have camera envy here, but.
What do you think?
I can't talk. I want to go eat.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing the recipe. And, you know, I know that my audience would love to know how to find out more about you, how to, you know, stay current with what's new in Nita's world. Tell us how to find you.
Well, speaking of Nita's World, that's my website. It's www.nitasworld.com, minus the parsley that's in my mouth. That's my website. You can find out more about nutrition and my recommendations regarding that on my blog. I do actually endorse NutriFit. I love their products. I love their foods. The spices, if you like really tasty food, which I do, but you don't like cooking, those spices will give anything life and just, wonderfully savory flavor.
Thank you. And what's next for you, Nita? What's on the horizon?
Well, I have a few things. I'm still at this point just waiting to launch my next 2 books, which are catered to women specifically.
Fabulous.
And one of them is for novice workout enthusiasts and maybe stay-at-home moms or new moms. And the second book is for intermediate fitness enthusiasts who are really avid with the gym, but maybe need some new steps to really step it up.
Fantastic.
So I've got that coming out soon, and then on top of that, I'm going to be competing in fitness again this year after 3 years.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
well,
I haven't
what an
been on stage
inspiration
in a while, so I'm excited.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
Good
you.
luck on everything. We'll stay
Thank you.
connected, and I, appreciate your being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome to The Last Bite. This is the moment in the show when I share with you a little helpful tip about how to make your life more positive, happier, and healthier. And today I'd like to share a little tip with you about being mindful. And mindfulness is difficult in today's society. It really means being present in the moment, being aware of your body, being aware of where you are emotionally, really being in tune with yourself and living in the moment. So how do we do that with all the distractions that are out there, with all the things that can sort of pull us in so many different directions and send us so many different signals? We're constantly bombarded by stimulus. How do we just quiet the mind and bring it all to a sane place? Well, there's a simple system. It's not mine originally. I'm not sure who designed it, but I've customized the simple system that I like to call HALTS. And it stands for HALTS. H is for hungry. Now, sometimes we don't realize that we're as hungry as we are, and we mistake other things for hunger, or we mistake hunger for other things. So the first tip is to really sit with yourself and say, am I really hungry? Am I just eating out of A, anger, Sometimes we're frustrated, we're angry, we don't realize it, but we reach for food. So it's either hunger or A, anger. The L, lonely. You know, today's world, we are, again, a lot of electronic communication, a lot of lack of human connectedness. L is for lonely. Am I lonely? Is that really what's going on here? And if I'm lonely, what should I be doing? Should I really be eating? Should I maybe reach out, call somebody, touch a friend, hug a dog, cuddle with your kids, pick up the phone and call someone that you haven't talked to in a long time? You know, sometimes it's just that we're lonely. And other times it's just that we're T, which is tired. In the end, it isn't that we're hungry, it isn't that we're lonely, it's that we're just so darn tired. So instead of reaching for food, instead of reaching for wine, instead of reaching for coffee, maybe what we really need to do is just allow our body to relax, take a quick nap. You know, there's a lot of research that shows that power napping is really good for you. It really energizes you. It helps you sharpen the saw, just like exercise does, kind of cleans out the cobwebs and refreshes you. So if it is that you're tired, that's another thing to do instead of eating. And finally, S for stress. You know, sometimes it's really nothing but the over kind of low level anxiety that we feel, that we recognize in our body as stress. And we are biologically designed to deal with our stress by doing something physical, not by eating, not by sleeping, not by hibernating, but by getting out and being physical. Our physiology is geared to it. So if it is hunger, anger, loneliness, fatigue, or stress, being tired or being stressed, think about that HALT system, and the next time you're feeling really agitated, calm yourself down, take a step back, and ask yourself, what is going on with my body? And become mindful, be present in the moment. That's a great way to increase your happiness, to make your life a little smoother, a little healthier, a little happier, and to help yourself look and feel as fabulous as you are. That's my tip for today. Thank you so much for joining me on Food Exposed. Share this show with your friends, your family, your associates, and don't forget to tune in next week. For more Food Exposed, check me out on emPOWERme.tv. And until next week, remember, make food your best friend and exercise your companion for life.